Welcome to Pawsome Outdoor Tales, where we explore the deepest emotions of our animal friends through stories of love, loss, and redemption. Once upon a time, Miu and Moy lived in a world filled with endless sunshine, laughter, and the warm embrace of loving parents. Their home was a sanctuary of peace, where every purr resonated with pure joy and the bond of family seemed absolutely unbreakable. However, destiny often brings unexpected storms, and a sudden illness took away the gentle light of their mother, leaving them in darkness. The day they said goodbye to her was the day the colors faded from their world, leaving a void that nothing could fill. As time passed, the father tried to bury his grief in work, slowly drifting away from the two little souls who needed him. Then came the day he introduced a new figure into their lives, hoping to rebuild a family, but unknowingly inviting a disaster. Her smile was bright for the father, but her eyes held a cold malice whenever she looked at Miu and his brother Moy. The dinner table, once a place of sharing, became a symbol of division, with the brothers pushed to the shadows of the room. Miu tried to reach out, hoping to find the father he once knew, but work and the new wife consumed all attention. Whispers of deceit filled the house, as the stepmother slowly poisoned the father's mind against his own flesh and blood, day by day. The gentle father was replaced by a stranger who saw faults where there were none, his patience worn thin by constant manipulation. Night after night, the brothers held on to each other, their tears soaking the old rug, wondering what they had done to deserve this. Hope is a fragile thing, yet they held on to it as Miu's birthday approached, praying it would remind their father of his love. They prepared a humble gift with trembling paws, believing that this special day might bridge the growing chasm between them and him. They arrived at his office with hearts pounding, only to find him buried in paperwork, with the stepmother guarding him like a hawk. Miu stepped forward, offering his heart in his hands, but the father only saw an interruption to his busy and important schedule. The cruel stepmother intervened immediately, her sharp words cutting deep as she physically pushed the children away from their own father's presence. Instead of a hug, they received a dismissal. The father, blinded by stress, forgot the very day his beloved son was born. The realization hit Miu harder than any physical blow. His father had not just forgotten the day, he had forgotten his son. They walked out into a world that seemed to weep with them, the heavy rain masking the tears streaming down their small faces. But the nightmare was only beginning. Upon returning, they found the doors barred, the locks changed, and their home no longer theirs. From the window, a cruel face watched them shiver, shutting the curtains on their pleas and sealing their fate as homeless orphans. With nowhere to go, they wandered into the unforgiving night, the biting wind cutting through their wet fur, chilling them to the bone. Their new home was a damp, dark space under a bridge, a stark contrast to the warm bed they had slept in yesterday. Morning brought no relief, only the gnawing pain of hunger and the harsh reality that they were now alone in a big city. Survival became a battle. Even seeking scraps from a bin was dangerous, as the streets were ruled by those stronger and meaner. But Miu refused to give up. Seeing a discarded bottle, he realized that even trash had value if they worked hard enough together. Day after day they roamed the city, carrying burdens heavier than themselves, their small paws calloused from the rough work of survival. Their hard work earned them only a few coins, just enough to keep starvation at bay, but not enough to buy back comfort. In the midst of hardship, their love grew stronger. Miu always ensured his younger brother ate first, sacrificing his own share without hesitation. At night, a small fire was their only luxury. They huddled close, whispering stories of the past to keep the cold darkness away. Meanwhile, in the house of luxury, the father felt a growing emptiness. The silence of the large rooms began to haunt him deeply. He found himself staring at old photos, the smiles of his children piercing his heart, making him question the path he had chosen. But the stepmother allowed no sentiment. She demanded more money, more jewelry, erasing memories of the children to secure her own position. He gave in to her demands to keep the peace, but a seed of doubt had been planted in the back of his mind. Back on the streets, the brothers faced a new threat. Bullies took their day's earnings, leaving them bruised and broken on the pavement. Miu used his own body as a shield, bearing the pain to protect Moy. His bravery was immense, but his body was small. Defeated and empty-handed, They sought shelter under a shop awning, the relentless rain mirroring the despair that was slowly drowning their hopes. A small act of kindness from a stranger gave them food, but Miu's sacrifice continued. He fed his brother while his own stomach ached. The wheel of time turned to the father's birthday. He sat at a grand table expecting a celebration, but was met with silence. He tried to call his wife, but the line was dead. Anxiety began to replace annoyance as he realized something was terribly wrong. He rushed upstairs to find the truth staring him in the face. Empty closets and an open safe. The woman had taken everything. She had vanished with his wealth, his car, and his dignity, leaving him with nothing but the echoes of his own foolish mistakes. Collapsed on the floor, his eyes fell upon the crumpled drawing in the bin, the gift from his son that he had cruelly rejected. As he smoothed the paper, the crude crayon smiles mocked his current misery. He realized he had traded true treasure for fool's gold. Regret pierced his soul. He ran into the streets, screaming their names, desperate to undo the damage, to find the children he abandoned. He became a madman searching for sanity, showing the drawing to strangers, begging for any clue about two small, lost kittens. Fate led him to the dark underpass. There, amidst the filth, he found a shredded piece of Miu's shirt, and his heart stopped. An elder of the streets pointed a shaky finger toward the abandoned warehouse district, whispering that bad men had taken the little ones. Fear vanished, replaced by a father's primal fury. He sprinted toward the danger, vowing to save them or die trying to protect them. Inside the warehouse, Miu and Moy huddled in terror. The thugs loomed over them, their shadows stretching long and menacing on the walls. The door crashed open. There stood their father, disheveled but magnificent, his voice booming with a command that shook the very rafters. The odds were against him, but love is a powerful weapon. He fought with the strength of 10, shielding his sons from every blow. When a weapon was raised against Moy, the father didn't hesitate. He took the strike meant for his son, collapsing in pain but unyielding. Seeing their father bleed for them ignited a spark. The brothers broke free and joined the fight, small teeth and claws defending their dad. The sound of sirens cut through the chaos. The cowards fled into the night, leaving the battered family alone in the dusty silence. Bruised and bleeding, the father pulled his children close. Tears mingled with blood as he whispered apologies, promising never to let go again. Forgiveness is the purest form of love. Miu and Moy didn't need words. They simply buried their faces in his fur, finally safe. The next sunrise brought a new beginning. They sat by the river, battered but whole, watching the light chase away the shadows of the past. They didn't return to the mansion. They went back to the humble wooden house, rebuilding their home with love rather than empty riches. He taught them the value of honest work and nature. Life was simple now, stripped of luxury, but filled with laughter and presence. Their meals were simple grilled fish, but they tasted better than any banquet because they were seasoned with love and shared in true togetherness. Miu drew a new picture, one that captured their journey. It hung on the wall, a badge of honor, reminding them of their resilience. Every night, the father kissed them goodnight, grateful for the second chance he didn't deserve, but worked every day to be worthy of. Justice eventually caught up with the wicked. The news of the stepmother's arrest came, but they felt no joy, only a quiet closure. He tossed the paper into the fire, watching the last link to that dark chapter turn to ash, turning his back on the past. Seasons changed, and the kittens grew into strong, kind cats, their hearts shaped by the hardships they overcame and the love they reclaimed. They planted a garden in memory of their mother. Her spirit seemed to bloom in every flower, watching over her reunited family with pride. As the father grew older, the sons became his strength, walking beside him just as he had walked beside them through the darkest times. Looking down at the city that once almost destroyed them, they felt only peace, knowing they had something no money could ever buy. Miu whispered a thank you to the wind, grateful that his father found his way back home before it was too late for them. Their shadows merged into one on the grass, a testament to a bond that was tested by fire and forged into solid steel. This story reminds us that while we may lose our way, love is the compass that can always guide us back home. Thank you for watching this journey of redemption. Subscribe to Pawsome Outdoor Tales for more touching stories. Love always finds a way.